Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that feels good because after all, that's what we all want. We just want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher. Today on the show, we're visiting with a local entrepreneur, a real estate magician, and visionary. And I mean that seriously. This guy has put in the years. Mr. Russ McClellan consistently is able to see opportunities and ways of structuring deals that others simply don't see. And he's going to join us after the commercial break to talk not just about real estate, but mindset. Why mindset? Because it determines everything. It influences your bank balance, your health and vitality, your relationships, your career, your moment-by-moment experience of life. Mindset is powerful. In fact, let me give you an example. I want to talk to you about Amy Copeland Mercier. She was in a zipline accident in 2012, and as a result, has to use a wheelchair. The thing is, she loves going outdoors, hiking to parks, but most outdoor parks are not wheelchair friendly. There are rough dirt trails with big ruts and obstacles that a wheelchair simply can't navigate. So what did Amy do? She got into action. She helped create an initiative with the state of Georgia's Department of Natural Resources to bring tank wheelchairs to some of these state parks. These motorized chairs have tank-like tracks that allow the users to go over an entire tree trunk. They can go up steep inclines. They can go through the snow. They can go through swamps or wetlands. How cool is that? You see, an empowering mindset provides access to innovation and creation. One more example of how important mindset is becomes clear when we look at Antoinette Tuff. Shortly after showing up to work at an elementary school in Atlanta, a 20-year-old man walked into the school armed with an assault rifle and a backpack full of ammunition. He announced that everyone was going to die. But Antoinette stopped him with her words. She simply told him, and this is a quote, we're not doing that today. We're not going to hate you. And then she went on to tell him that she loved him. And after some back and forth conversation, she was able to get 911 on the line, and the gunman surrendered. Mindset allows for connection, empathy, compassion, even in the face of fear and threat. It allows for radical outcomes. So what kind of outcomes do you want in your life? Is it time to take a look at your mindset? Well, we're going to talk more about it with Russ McClellan after the break. Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. So glad you're in this conversation. As you know, I think this is one of the most important ones because we're talking about mindset with Russ McClellan. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. One more time.
That's right. Hey, well, you know the drill. We're going to start off with what's going well in your life. What's a win?
I got 2 wins.
Good.
I have a grandson that's now 5, and I just was at my 1-year-old grandson's birthday party.
Right on.
And watching my daughter, she's juggling being a doctor of audiology. She's just got a huge promotion at her clinic. Also be a mom and my son-in-law and all that he's doing as a stay-at-home dad and also now beginning to look at his career. He took time off to help raise the kids while my daughter was doing her thing at the clinic, and just to watch him mature, as a grandpa, as a dad, as a mentor to my son-in-law. You just sit back and you watch those kids playing and all the things that sometimes we race too fast and we don't really take time to absorb, be present.
Yeah.
Like, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
I mean, come on, being with little kids, your grandchildren,
Yep.
That feels really good. That's fun, huh? That's time well spent.
Yeah, and it's really funny because just like people, they're just little people, right? And my 5-year-old is really analytical and super polite and, go get her, but, then there's my youngest grandson who's a linebacker. He's just like a bull. He doesn't cry, he just screams at you like, hey, pay attention. I'm one. So it's fun to watch those two interact.
Yeah.
As very different personalities, but with a lot of love.
Yeah.
You know, to me, that's beautiful. I mean, that's the whole idea, right? Before we're corrupted by all these other things mentally when we're young, and if we're fortunate to have a caring family, it's just a beautiful place, because from there it gets harder.
Yeah.
But it's neat to see.
I love being around little kids. I love play.
Yeah.
I love the concept of play, because there's a lot of play when we're young, and then as we get older, there's less and less and less. For me, in my life, play is really important. We do a lot of play in our family, board games or just out recreating, but kids bring that home, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, play's good. Hey, for the people who are listening and watching, where are you from? What business do you have here in town?
Yeah, so I grew up in Manson, as did my parents and my grandparents. My grandmother came to Manson on a covered wagon when she was 7 years old. Passed away about 12 years ago at 101. My mom's mom passed away at about 99. Women live a long time. You know, men tend to get in trouble and die early. I'm just kidding. No, so it's good time, you know. I've been in real estate for 33 years. You know, went to Wenatchee Valley, played basketball, went to Central, got a finance degree, econ degree, and been an entrepreneur ever since. So I owned Keller Williams Real Estate with my partners Luke and Kelly, and that's headquartered in Wenatchee here, but we also have a team. My team is called the Frontline Team in Lake Chelan, which I've been there for 3 decades, and we're moving and shaking. And we have a development arm that we're working on some developments in Okanagan County, and Douglas County, and Chelan County, City of Chelan.
Just kind of covering all the counties.
Magically just kind of grows. You know, when you put something good together and you have good intentions, you know, I like to play red light, green light with things. And when something's feeling good and when we have the right motivation, whether it's growing the real estate company and changing lives in a positive way, using real estate as the vehicle to do that, by teaching and training people how to make extra money, you know, part-time, full-time as a referring agent. We also have a free real estate school, which we're proud of, and we have about 40, 50 people in that right now. And we're at about 80 real estate brokers, which is about 20% of the overall MLS in our area. So in 5 years.
That's great.
At Keller Williams.
That's great. That's so cool that you've got a free school for people to go and learn how to become a real estate professional. And then, because once you're in that position, the sky is the limit.
For sure.
I mean, you have incredible opportunity if you choose to pursue it. And that leads me to what I want to talk to you a little bit about. I shared with you before the show started, I saw that something you posted on your Facebook page, and I just loved it because I just felt like it's so accurate. And the quote is, "We don't create abundance. Abundance is always present. We simply create limitations." And when I read that, I was like, perfectly said. Because abundance, it's not like we create it. It's already around us. We're not going to create more of it. It simply is. Yeah. But we are practiced at putting limitations in front of the abundance, and then frequently we complain or feel powerless because we can see the abundance, but we frequently say, "Oh boy, that's just for other people. They got a lucky break," or "I'm not experienced enough," or "I wish I was that lucky," right? We put these limitations in. Tell me a little bit about when you read that quote and posted it, what came to your mind?
Well, in real estate, you're right. It's a very low barrier to entry relative to how much money or how much opportunity you can create. We have a 90-hour school. You take a test, you get licensed for less than $1,000. You know, my daughter went to school for 7, 8 years, and first 4 years, if she got an A-, I think she had to take the class over again to get into grad school. I mean, it's crazy. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. I go, so when I see people that have all the ability in the world, but the world has kind of beat them down. Sometimes they know that, and sometimes, like you talk about your programming, people don't know that. But the herd mentality is one that does not necessarily encourage you to be all that you can or want to be. The herd mentality, unfortunately, is often coming from people we care about, that care about us. And you know, I can tell you in real estate, I don't know how many people have started into real estate, kind of hit some speed bumps for a variety of reasons, and their loved ones say, "Why don't you get a real job?"
Yeah.
You know, I don't want you to get hurt and fail. But go back in time when you're in kindergarten, they don't say, hey, please color outside the lines for me, little kid. Just color outside the lines. No, we say color in the lines, get in line, be quiet, don't talk out of turn. You're becoming a robot at a very young age, controlled by other people. And it's all kind of under this disguise of don't get hurt.
Yeah. It's kind of under the disguise of we don't want you to get hurt and we want you to be successful.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So,
what does successful mean? And that's what I tell people, like, what does it mean to you? And so often we have to start with mindset, work on mindset, and finish with mindset.
Yeah.
I believe real estate and many things are 99% mindset, 1% skill set. I believe anybody that can say hi to people, can open a door. It's not as easy as I'm saying, but it sure is a lot easier if you bring a good attitude.
Yeah.
And you have discipline and work ethic. And we talked about success or happiness. I believe the game of real estate, the game of life, is why I'm so blessed, because I literally look at everything like a game. But I play that game with integrity, and I play that game with principles, and I play that game to win for others.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I love being that ambassador of something that can help someone.
Yes.
And so that's the game for me. That's why the hours don't matter. I mean, my biggest challenge is not having balance to, what do they say? I'm not going to work to live, I live to work, or something like that. I don't even know. It's so silly to me. I don't even know what it is. I just think that I have to force myself to get off the merry-go-round of the game of life in business, because helping people in that environment, when I look around and I see so many capable people struggling right now, especially with inflation and interest rates and layoffs, and when you look closer, there's a lot of people struggling.
There are, yes.
So I think we can help those people, but it's not easy. Real estate is a fairly straightforward business, with a lot of layers to it, but it's not an easy business. You do have to work.
You do have to work. You do have to be in conversation with people. You have to, there's a lot of effort you have to put into it.
Yeah, it's a contact sport.
It's a contact sport, exactly, And you can do it, but it requires that mindset. And we talk about mindset a lot, so let's just define it. My definition of mindset is that mindset is a fixed set of beliefs, decisions, and attitudes that help me understand my world and myself. And so mindset, attitudes, decisions, and beliefs, that's what we want to get really clear about. What are those things? Because that's really what fuels us, what holds us back, or what opens up the door for us,
100%.
Yeah. Good stuff. Hey, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more about mindset and that quote that I just am fascinated with right after this break. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. We're talking with Russ McClellan today. We're talking real estate, we're talking mindset, mostly mindset, because it produces our outcomes, it determines our outcomes. So talking about this quote, right, we don't create abundance, abundance is everywhere, we are simply practiced at putting up limitations. I want to get curious with you, what's a limitation that you became aware of that you put in your own way and somehow at some point had to deal with that?
Well, I've made in hindsight, a lot of mistakes that I don't think that are permanent mistakes. I think all mistakes, all failures, although kind of a cliche, but when you fail often and you fail fast and you fail forward, that's usually where wisdom is born. Wisdom is very difficult to get when you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of good things, I always say, the comfort zone is where growth goes to die, right? So to me, I've been overextended, I've been bankrupt, I've been divorced, I've drank too much. I used to, when I was younger, getting all kinds of, some anger issues. I have put many silly limitations in front of me, and sometimes they're as simple as listening to people rationalize why I should not go for it. Mm-hmm. People I respect, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there's two types of people, I think, Fletcher, and I call it the sacred gift mentality. And to me, that means, we're human, so when someone's talking negatively about you, making something up perhaps, or telling you the truth that is painful because you made a mistake. It's okay if they affect me negatively, if they get me upset or hurt my feelings, as long as I respect them, as long as I give them that authority. That's the gift. That's the sacred gift. If you say something to me or about me, Fletcher, it's going to hurt my feelings. I'm going to pay attention because I respect you immensely. So I give you that willingly, that sacred gift to hurt me if you need to. I think we need that in our lives. What I'm trying not to do is let people that aren't coming from a place of goodwill or integrity, they're just attacking.
Yeah.
Just to attack, to make themselves feel better perhaps, by pulling other people down, or to make that misery loves company a fact, not fiction.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think you have to be careful there, because if you're not willing to get beat up a little bit by those that you care about, by those that you respect, then you're going to fall into this ego-driven arrogance. And if you're not humble, I am a firm believer, because it's happened to me many times, life will humble you.
Yes, it will, rather quickly.
Yeah, so you wake up hungry and wake up humble and a little scared, especially if you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And you're not getting paid just for time, you're getting paid for results and helping people. And so to me, limitations are important to a degree. But you got to be very, very careful, because so often the people that care about you the most are going to hold you back the most.
Yeah.
From my experience.
And I love what you were saying about that sacred gift, because another term or something similar to that is this concept of vulnerability.
For sure.
Because vulnerability, I believe it actually means to open yourself up to injury.
And criticism.
Right?
Yeah. Which is injury, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So a person who's vulnerable is willing to sustain injury, but they're willing to do that because ultimately they know that's going to further their growth and their ability to contribute. Yeah? And I love also what you were talking about, wisdom. Yeah, wisdom, the wisest people I know are the people who have made the most mistakes and some of the biggest mistakes, but they learned from them and they corrected the course.
Yeah, most people don't go into something going, I just can't wait till I fail.
Yeah.
This is going to be great. Whether it's, a relationship, or whether a business or personal relationship, or an objective or a goal. I think it's important that you understand that it is not going to be the end all of everything, good or bad.
Yeah.
It's not going to, the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat is really not going to be what ultimately defines you. Whether you're very successful or whether you're bankrupt, it's that wisdom gained by the defeat, or what happened to you isn't what's defining you, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's what you do next with that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we'll make, it's one thing to just keep being insane and making the same mistakes over and over again and expecting a different result, right? That's insanity. And a lot of people do that. They can't break out of that programming that you talk about, right? So what I try to do is help people see that they have untapped potential, no matter what they have or have not accomplished.
Yes.
Their future is brighter than their past.
I love that.
Because I had this, don't tell my daughter I said this, but when she was young, I said, she was 13, and there's something about teenagers that are beautiful, and there's something about teenagers that are fairly alien-driven. I think she was kidnapped for 4 or 5 years by alien forces. She was still there, but the attitude was weird. She's now 30 with children, right? So it's a long time ago, but I said one day, I figured it out, Taylor. You know everything in your world. The problem is your world's this big, and you do know everything inside that, the real world. And then so before I even got to that, I go, I have a question for you, Taylor. When you were 4, I think she was like 16 at this time, when you were 4 years old, were you smarter than when you were 2 years old? And I said, are you smarter at 8 than 4? Oh yeah. Are you smarter at 12 than 10? Yeah. Well, you're 16 now. Are you smarter at 16 than 10? What are you talking about? Yeah, and I go, so what? I don't know how old it was, like 40 or something. I go, well, I'm a little older than that. Do you think I'm smarter than you? No. There's the disconnect between teenagers and adults. But I just love that my children, my son was a Marine for 5 years. I just got out, he's working construction now, and very proud of him too. And that's a huge win to have him out of the service and here, and retired as a sergeant in the Marines. And I love that they're willing to go for it. He's got a desire to open a septic tank installation company.
Right on.
You know, and learning how to operate equipment with Columbia Earth Movers, and Shane Martin, who's a great friend of mine and a good guy. And I think when you look around, that's what I love most. But it's also the hardest thing to watch when you see potential in people. And right now, I got to be honest, I'm perplexed. I don't know what happened after COVID, but it's not just real estate. I think there's a lot of people that are just not moving. Mm-hmm. They're just wondering what to do, perhaps, mm-hmm. or maybe they're not, maybe it's just so foreign to work aggressively, you know, with discipline. And I heard this quote from a famous football coach, or I read this quote, Nick Saban. And he said, discipline is there's a lot of cliches for the word discipline, but I like this one. And he said, discipline is this: knowing what you're supposed to do and you don't want to do it, and doing it anyway. And then also wanting to do something that you know you're not supposed to do and not doing it.
I like that.
So there's two sides to that,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, hey, let's just go to the bar, Fletcher. It'll be fun. Let's just have some drinks. Let's you know, those leads suck.
Yeah.
That broker of yours sucks, you know.
Yeah.
The world sucks, the interest rate sucks, inflation sucks, misery loves company.
Yes.
Or whatever, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
to me, understanding that, and I also believe, so there's some people that I'm not touching, but then there's a whole nother group of people, brand new people into real estate that I am so impressed with at our office.
Nice.
That are just charging the storm. And they're, to your point about that quote, they don't see the abundance, or they don't see the limitations.
Nice.
So, you know, I think sometimes when you experienced in our business, like 3 years ago, the average price was maybe $325 and the rate was 3%. That means everybody that you knew that made $25 an hour or so was a qualified buyer.
Right.
Fast forward 3 years, now it's almost 500,000, and now we're at 6.5%.
Yep.
So sometimes when you had that good, like that unprecedented low rate and lower price, and now the rate's doubled and the price hasn't really dropped a whole lot, you might have thought you were all that in a bag of chips.
Yep.
But the question is, what are you doing differently? Because it's a different business now.
Right.
You know, ask Blockbuster how they fared. You know, that they didn't adjust.
Right.
And Netflix did okay.
Yeah.
And Blockbuster's gone. So that's the part that I'm still a student of real estate and leadership, trying to figure out how do we get more people that maybe had success, but now are struggling, to just come forward and say, look, I don't know what I'm doing, or
Yeah.
look, help me do something different, because I want to help my clients at a higher level.
Yeah.
And that takes courage, and that takes vulnerability.
And you're the man to help facilitate that for these people. So, I've known Russ for a long time. If this piques your interest, if you're like, man, I'd like to take a closer look at this real estate game, get in touch with him, Russ McClellan, KW&CW Realty here in Wenatchee. And Russ, we got to wrap it up. So thanks again for being here.
My pleasure. I appreciate it very much.
And hey, it's time for you now to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.